These are my favorite metal albums that you should check out from September 2024, and we're starting with Ripped to Shreds with Sanshi. This San Jose band is another one of the few modern OSDM bands I would list as truly worth investing in, given their masterful ability to truly capture that 90s sound while also putting their own signature twist on it. Here they continue to pull on the Chinese folklore and more melodeath elements of the previous album while also doubling down on sheer speed and ferocity, not so unlike the likes of Dismember and Early Death. The result is tracks that are as infectious as they are heavy, with Force-Fed and Vision of Sin, Mirror of Darkness being especially potent in this regard. While so many are still standing the latest Gatecreeper and 200 Stab Wounds, my votes go to this and Skeletal Remains. Next up is Servant with Death Devil Magick. The third album from this German black metal band, such a wonderful mix of epic melodies with the intensity of the vocals, and unlike a lot of groups in this style, they understand that less is more with these much more focused track lengths. Not to mention each track actually sounds noticeably different from the last, with memorable hooks and shifting textures. It's all so malevolent and melodious all at once, and also getting a bit more philosophical with lyrics inspired by the likes of Charles Baudelaire and Friedrich Nietzsche. I particularly enjoy the dark groove of Devil, the pummeling blast beats and fiery guitars of Fury, and the foot tap-inducing Litany. Then we have Wolfheart with Draconian Darkness. The seventh album from this Finnish melodic death metal band I've been enjoying since 2018's Constellation of the Black Light. As usual, this region's contribution to the genre continued to be overshadowed by their Swedish brethren, but I love how these guys weave folk and symphonic elements into their sound for a truly epic result. The strings and choral elements sound absolutely massive, but they can also bring things down for a little Opeth-sounding acoustic and clean singing here and there. Highly recommend Evenfall and Burning Sky in particular. Then we have Blighted Eye with Agony's Bespoke. Some more sprawling death metal out for the progressive fans out there. The music has plenty of elements that again remind me of Opeth, from the general songwriting to the guitar work, but the vocals give everything a slightly different vibe. Not to mention the album is conceptually based on the 2018 film Nightingale. Impressive performances abound over the hour runtime, which mostly held my attention pretty strong. I see some room for improvement here and there, but mostly this is a very strong debut from a band with plenty of promise moving forward. Next up is Flotsam and Jetsam with I Am the Weapon. Another banger late career album from these thrash metal legends. As I said in my tier list, there are a couple of songs on here that feel a little bit more generic, but even those are at least a 7 out of 10. And thanks to the likes of A New Kind of Hero, Beneath the Shadows, Cold Steel Heights, and Running Through Fire, this still managed to get me banging my head really hard. Not to mention the ominous Black Wings may just be one of their best closing tracks to date. Not quite on par with Blood in the Water, but a must for thrash metal fans. Again, check out the discography tier list for more thoughts. Then we have Esoctrilihum with th-Dernyàlh. Even though I tend to complain about this project putting out too much material, even at 2 albums a year and up to 2 hours a piece sometimes, I am really enjoying this latest record. The addition of the 12-string acoustic guitar alongside these spooky electric leads really gives some awesome fog-shrouded forest atmosphere. The one major downside is that I wish the vocals didn't sound like Gollum shrieking about a thorn in his foot, but once you get used to it, in a way it only adds to the odd dreamlike qualities. Next up is 156 Silence with People Watching. This highly underrated Pittsburgh metalcore project only gets better and better with each album. While so much of the scene gets drowned out now by generic octanecore, these guys mix elements of punishing hardcore, chaotic mathcore, and the more melodic sounds of Darko and Under Oath for something that really captures the original spirit of the genre. Also, so exciting to see Carson Pace of another one of my favorite underrated bands in the Callous Dowboys guest on Bloodloss, and Craig Owens of the largely forgotten band Kyotos also shows up with more great vocals on Wants I Need, and Trey Roberts of Mouth for War annihilates on Change Agent. Do listen to this record if you like metalcore even a little bit, or even if you don't. Then we have Aevangelist with Perdition Ekstasis Meta. I'd understand some people being hesitant to further support this band given some of the things that have come out over the last few years. That said, I've never been one to judge music based on the person making it, nor was I really there for any of the things that went down, and so this is just a very much well-constructed black vortex of despair, in my opinion. It's an excellent union of black death and industrial elements joining more aggressive, even Godflesh-esque drums and guitar alongside spooky synths, and even a few piano sections that reminded me of Nine Inch Nails' Ghosts. Definitely recommended to the fans of Blut aus Nord out there. Then we have Emasculator with the Disfigured and the Divine. Move over Nervosa, this all-female international death metal project fronted by Abnormality's Malika Sundaramurthy, is here to deliver one of the most brutal EPs of the year. From the vicious drumming to the vile old-school vocal performance to the raw production, it's going to take your head clean off your shoulders without spilling a single drop of blood. And aside from the general violence, the Middle Eastern-sounding interlude, The Unassailable, adds a touch of class and mysticism in line with the imagery of the cover art. Can't wait to see what they cook up from here. Then we have Thorium with Bastard. The sixth album from this Danish band formed in 1997, and it is a goddamn ripper. Take peak era At the Gates and Dismember, add a little bit more grit and grime, and you've got yourself some new HM2 goodness for the ages. Nice variety here, from the faster stuff to the very morbid Angel where the slime lives sounding underground. I also dig the layering of the high and low growls. Then we have Odious Spirit with the Treason of Consciousness. This new project out of New York really pushes the listener to the max with a harsh and dissonant union of tech death, doom, prog, and black metal. Relentless barrages of snare hits crash into your brainstem amidst a cacophony of mesmerizing guitar work. It's like Immolation and Artificial Brain birthed the Antichrist with Abyssal and Adversarial. I always know when the primarily black metal focused I Voidhanger Records drops a death metal album that it's going to be an instant underground classic. They really have an ear for the most demented, hair-raising shit out there. Next up is Winterfylleth with the Imperious Horizon. I'll admit that I was feeling pretty daunted at seeing the runtime of this seventh album from this UK black metal band, and at first it may seem like your typical somewhat repetitious atmospheric release, but patience will be rewarded for those willing to make the investment. The further you get in, the more this album opens up stylistically, incorporating chilling synths and some truly haunting clean vocals as well. I still think it could be trimmed down a bit, but overall I am thankful for soaking in the full experience. Then we have Ingurgitating Oblivion with Ontology of Nought. Knowing what I know about this German project from past albums and seeing that hour and 13-minute runtime, it took some willpower to work up to this one as well. I'd basically describe them as Tech Death's answer to Imperial Triumphant, although these guys have actually been around much longer. Gorguts meets jazz and a bad acid trip. Just pure madness from the harrowing chaos of the death metal elements to the truly unsettling nature of whatever Lest I Should Perish is. This is definitely not an album for everyone, but those who do make it through deserve some sort of metal.
I survived.
Then we have Luck Won't Save You with Through the Mountains of Melancholia. This underrated Idaho band is back with a greatly expanded sound palette, tons of exciting variety and experimentation, highly reminiscent of Between the Buried and Me, but with their own unique twist. Red Mother Blue Sun and the title track sound straight out of The Silent Circus, from the sudden stylistic shifts right down to the guitar tone. While Myth of the Monolith mixes some truly unhinged death metal fury with jazz bass-driven breaks, and Uzol Soul gets downright brutal. Also a truly epic kind of western film trumpet solo on Wandering Wayfarer's Woe, alongside more techie guitars, death metal growls, and synth and piano elements. Some pretty haunting quiet moments too, and the end loops right back into the intro like a Mobius strip. I saw a lot of people in the comments thanking me for recommending this the week that it came out, so be sure to check it out. Another underdog crew here in Killing of a Sacred Deer with Killing of a Sacred Deer. This is a monstrous EP from the Edmonton band derived from the movie of the same name, and riding the line between metallic hardcore and deathcore in the best way possible. The dodgeball snare tone alone makes me want to put my skull through someone else's, and the chugging riffs are stank face for days. It actually reminds me a lot of early Suicide Silence and sounds very much like it could have been made around the same time. Add a dose of some more modern groups like Spite, and this is going to be 17 minutes you'll be spinning over and over and over again. Another EP here in Entheos with 1,000 Days. Just a year after their spectacular full-length Time Will Take Us All, they are back with more killer progressive death metal musicianship from Naveen Kopervice and the always engaging and dynamic vocals from Trainee Crab. Everything here is 100% on point, from the technical drumming and guitar work to the dark and menacing atmosphere. I absolutely love the opening of the groovy Life in Slow Motion in particular, also fusing elements of everything from Chimera and Meshuggah to Tool into its death metal roots. Once again, less is more, as despite being only a 4-song EP, each track absolutely brings the house down. Then of course we have the Black Dahlia Murder with Servitude. Continuing this band after the loss of Trevor seemed like an impossible task, and while it doesn't quite live up to his 10 years stronger moments, I think that this lineup here is very impressive and maintains the spirit, with Brian stepping in on vocals, and with Ryan and Brandon side by side on guitars, and of course Max and Alan on bass and drums. They still bring the heat across the board, making for another fun entry into a discography without a single dud, if you ask me. I think they played it a little safe, and a little more experimentation would be nice to hear in the future, but it's a strong comeback that showcases this lineup's ability to carry them forward. Very tight 33 minutes of non-stop melodeath riffing with that trademark graveyard camp, and some standouts in the likes of Aftermath, Evening Ephemeral, and Transcosmic Blueprint. Check out my tier list for my thoughts on the entire discography and where this fits in it. Before I get to my favorite album of the month, I will say I was pretty disappointed in Many Eyes. Far from bad, and it has a few bangers, but I spun it a few times and have no interest in going back to it, and this was something I was definitely looking forward to as a long time Every Time I Die fan. Also, by the way, if you're enjoying the video, be sure to hit the like button and comment your own favorites down below. Consider subscribing for more videos. I put out at least 2 a week generally, and one of these every single month. But my favorite metal album of September goes to Piran with Exhaust. The demented experimental extreme metal crew is back for another highly technical bad trip. Defining their sound has always been a difficult task, but the best way I can put it is a violent collision of Swans with Gorguts and the Dillinger Escape Plan. And in spite of how impenetrable it can be at times, they always manage to deliver on some truly memorable moments, as with Strange Pains. Even when they slow things down with tracks like Out of Gas, it's almost more deranged. A few years back, I started using the term sounds of a serial killer's mind, and this definitely belongs on that playlist. And speaking of playlists, be sure to check out this one for more of my favorite metal albums by month, or this video for your personal YouTube recommendation. Look down in the description and the pinned comment for some of those discography rankings I mentioned. But that'll do it for now. Flight of Icarus signing off. I will see you in the trenches.